I'm Joe Crandall. I'm the owner of Greencastle Consulting. We're an implementation consulting firm based in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We're an award-winning firm. We have Best Places to Work, the ESGR Freedom Award. Our people, they have degrees and certificates, PMP, MBAs, and all that's important. But what's really important is we're 100% veteran-owned and operated.
And that's the difference that makes the difference. Because every one of us has served in uniform.
Means we get the job done. Done right the first time, on time.
We are laser focused on the task in front of us, and failure is not an option.
We meet you where you are, and we're with you every step of the way.
Just like in the military, we thrive during tough challenges.
Those critical, no-fail missions where you must succeed.
That is where we're at our best.
And that's where the military experience kicks in.
The leadership.
The teamwork.
Our continued commitment to service.
What that means is we get it done.
And to celebrate a culture of fun and camaraderie.
All right, Pat, thanks for joining us, man.
My pleasure. It's a great event.
Oh, my God, it's an unbelievable event. What a great day. It's probably, what, in the low 80s out here?
Right? How much better do you get than this dialing it up and asking for a day like today?
This is amazing. Hey, so this is the Greencastle podcast is called the Shots from the Winchester podcast. So let me get my fingernails to open this thing up here.
I got you.
Oh, my man. Teamwork. See, that's what veterans do right there. We come to each other's aid. So since this is, but we don't have shots to do here, we'll start with this. Cheers, buddy. So the most important question is, what are you drinking?
This is a Dogfish Head, right? There's Sequence Ale. It's light, it's refreshing.
It is. It's perfect for a day out with puppies and bike riding.
Yeah, and you can drink it like Kool-Aid. That's the downfall of that one.
That's the good and the bad of it. Hey, so you are the head of the VetNet at Comcast. You have a big team out here. You guys are riding for the full 24 hours out at Team Foster's Ruff Ride. Tell us how Ruff Ride came across your radar and why you guys decided, of all the fundraisers and the veteran-focused things, why Team Foster?
So I've been riding the Ruff Ride for 3 years with different veteran teams, right? So this year, Jake Brannick came to us and offered it up. And we went and talked to our partners at MVA, Military Veterans Affairs, and they're like, this is a great idea, right? And we actually, because of the way our ERGs worked, we actually wound this up so that's an all ERG event. It's Veterans Network is leading it, but we pulled in all our other ERGs as well, like the Women's Network, Unidos, Out, Ben. All those are a part of this event.
Wow,
today,
and they're out here supporting that.
And they're out here supporting for what this is. And from my perspective, being a veteran myself, right, and wasn't a service dog, it was actually my working dog, right? I know what that can bring to an individual and how that can help them and just that connection and things like that. And I love what they do, and it's all about helping veterans. And that's what we do at VetNet, right? We still serve the community, and that's all part of this, right? And I know Nick from a few years ago, right, riding the rides, and this is kind of a perfect thing of what we do and what we should be doing, right? We all want to serve afterwards. That doesn't go away, the desire to serve after we get out. So that's kind of how we did it. And, Comcast came on as a silver sponsor. We're still raising funds, right? Our team is, I think we're up to like $7,500 that we've raised as our team. We've got 50 folks that actually signed up, 52 as of this morning because they were still signing up.
Wow.
So it's an around-the-clock thing.
That's amazing. And I think what's really cool about that is that sometimes when we talk to the ERGs, the employee resource groups, that an organization has, with the best intent of creating them and creating a bigger community, but sometimes they get stovepiped, right? Whereas this group will do things just for this community, or this group will bring together just this community. And I think it's kind of a novel thing that you guys rallied all of the employee resource group communities in Comcast to come out and support this. I mean, who doesn't love dogs?
Yeah, and puppies,
and
right?
Puppies.
Puppy kisses. I mean, even Swoop is in on the puppy kisses over there, right? So, how can you not love that? And I think that's the culture of Comcast, right? That's one of the things that I love about working there is the culture itself.
Yeah.
Right. They whether you're a veteran or whatever other ERG, it's an environment where you can learn from each other, because I don't know everything about everything, right? And nobody knows everything about veterans, if you will, and we learn from each other, and it's actually nurtured by the company itself, and that's one of the great things about Comcast is that it allows us to do those things.
You mentioned a minute ago that you were, and I'd be remiss if because we're so heavily focused on veterans, and today's is all about helping veterans. 20 years in the Marine Corps, is that right?
Yeah, 22 actually.
22. You came in 80. We talked about this, 82, right?
82, retired in 2003.
Wow, that's a good run.
Yeah, it was good.
And you came in. You were an intel guy.
Yeah.
A little bit on the grunt side, a little bit on the the intelligence community side. And tell us about your run. You're 22 years.
Well, I'm in the intelligence community. I did a tour as a drill instructor too, right? So I was one of those guys.
You were the what do they call it? The big hat.
Exactly. Yeah, I got pictures. I can show you pictures.
You really? Are you on YouTube anywhere?
No. That was 94 to 97.
Oh yeah, this is pre-YouTube, pre-social media days.
Yeah, and you still get your voice from that too. You can get loud and you can yell and all that stuff, right? So I spent most of my time out of Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
Right, and then just doing deployments. It was pretty much never home for the most part, but that's what I wanted. That's what I chose. Right, doing different things. I was part of Iraqi Freedom. I was part of the first Gulf War. Right, been to Afghanistan, a few of those other not so to be named places, that you and I have both been.
Not vacation destinations.
Yes, but there are some places I do want to go back to, right? And I don't know from your aspect, like, I've been to Turkey, spent some time in Turkey.
Yeah.
But it's a place I would love to go back as a tourist eventually. Yeah. There's so much history and things, right?
No, you're absolutely right. There are places that I was just south of the Somali border many years ago, and I would message my wife, and I would say, this place is gorgeous. If it weren't right next to a total shithole, it would be gorgeous. And I said, one day, maybe my lifetime, it will turn around, and they will turn this into a fantastic. Because it is ripe for just this, like, a gorgeous beach community. It just wasn't there yet.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of places around the world like that, right?
Yeah, right.
That are like that are just so war torn and still at war, right? And just not safe places to go, right, for your everyday person. And they don't let us take weapons anymore when you're a civilian, right? Yeah, it's hard to get it on the plane.
Yeah, it's just lock. You tan awkwardly when you have an M4 laying across your chest. Yeah. It's just the whole thing can be kind of weird. 22 years. You retired in 2015, right?
2000. Well, I retired from the Marine Corps in 2003. Went to work for the government.
Oh, that's right.
After that, did stuff for the agencies.
Yeah. And then found your way over here.
And at 2015, I had seen enough, done enough. Right. It became that point, and I jumped out and actually went to work for Accenture as a contractor, right, for Comcast. And then within 6 months, they said, we want you to be a full-time employee, pick me up as an FTE.
Never look back.
Never look back. I love what I do, right? I love, and as I said, I get back to it's all about people and even veterans, right? Helping people, right? Veterans helping veterans helping other folks. We do so much from a VetNet perspective within the community. There's other things that we look at. We support Covenant House every year, right? The sleep out. Because if we don't do it and we don't mentor those kids, we don't help those kids, they're on the street forever, right? And we need to fix that. So that's part of the reason we're involved with them. Now,
we're obviously biased because we're veterans, but do you find that because the VetNet community in Comcast, because it's embedded in whether that's why we come in to serve or whether that's what's taught to us in being selfless servants in the military, do you find that because veterans have a tendency to bring that servant mindset to the outside, do you find that has set the tone for the other ERGs in Comcast to say, wow, man, these guys are really aggressive about serving the community?
Yeah, I think so. Right, we a lot of our events we try to pull in them and actually hey, this is what we do. This is what we're about.
Yeah.
And it rubs off, right? And there's events that the other ERGs handle or hold that they pull us into. It's like, we want you to help us. How did you connect with these community organizations? And right. And they give back as well. So, and it's, I look at them, my look at the Marine Corps and the military in general. We're the great melting pot.
We are.
Right. And, every group has its percentage, no matter what it is, right? But when you look at it as a whole, right, and you look at
for the Navy, our low percentage is the Marine Corps, for instance.
Well, we're the men's department, but we won't go into that, right?
Well played.
But when you look at what we do and how we do it, right? I think that's a big part of it. It's a mentality, right? It's still the desire, and it never goes away, right?
Right.
And I love what we are. I wouldn't looking back over all the things I've done, seen, nights I wake up, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back with. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't go back with it.
First of all, thanks for your 22 years of service.
Who knew?
I'm kind of a tech whiz.
I didn't even feel it hit it.
Actually, I probably should have called my 13-year-old daughter over because she's the one that knows everything. Like, she just taught me the other day all this stuff on the iPhone, and I'm like, I had no idea. I literally it was a pocket weight and a phone and a mechanism for texting.
Yeah.
I gotta ask because I've only ever met one Marine Corps DI. So I just want to. I know it was a long time ago. We're talking 19 years ago, but I gotta. Like 94, 04. Oh, geez, it's
25 years ago.
25 years ago, right? 94.
Yeah.
You obviously you don't talk like this. Is that something you do to preserve your voice? Is it something they teach you in DI boot camp or?
No, it's actually you get that frog voice when you talk like that because you've damaged your vocal cords, right? and that's the reason you get the voice. Otherwise, you could just get loud and push from the diaphragm like that.
Yeah.
And they teach you how to be loud and forceful with your voice.
But without straining your
vocal cords. And we spent hours really yelling at trees and different things, learning what our voice was and how to use your voice in the right manner so that you never lost your voice, right? Because that's never a good thing. I mean, you get sore throat, you get irritated a little bit, but if you do it right, you never lose your voice. And, it was pretty much 20 hours a day for 3 years.
I was an advanced training instructor in the Navy for a different group, and we didn't have anything nearly like that. But we would try and be, serious as instructors. But inevitably, as military veterans are known to do, it was a lighthearted environment because we'd laugh at some of the travesty, like gallows humor is a real thing. But I wonder, as a Marine Corps drill instructor in a very serious, like we're not screwing around. We're here to train warriors. Was there ever a time where you broke character and like they saw the man behind the DI?
Not as a green belt, right? So there's different versions. As a senior drill instructor, yes.
Yeah.
Right. I was a senior drill instructor for 2 or 3 platoons.
Okay.
Right. But when I was wearing the green belt, and that was my job.
Yeah.
And it's actually a job to stress them out.
Right.
Right. It is. It's to push them farther than what they think they can go, and then go beyond it.
Yeah.
Right. And show them you can do this. It's mental.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
it's
the whole thing.
It's interesting way you say it. That was my job, is to never break character. That's my job, right? Is to be an actor, if you will.
It was. And then if something happened, we'd walk off, just kind of like we'd say something, walk off, go in our little office, and just laugh our asses off, right? Because there's things that recruits would say that it's amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, the most off the wall shit.
And some of the things drill instructors say, right, it would make them laugh at the same time, right? Because you're saying stuff and there's spit flying and everything else, and something will come out of another drill instructor's mouth, and you're like, oh my God, and and then you're running back into the house just.
Hollywood would learn a lot from the discipline that Marine Corps DIs have for not breaking character.
Yeah, it's good. Well, Arlie Ermy, right?
Yeah.
When he did that movie, that is, I mean, right. That was back then.
Choke yourself.
Right, but I mean, that has changed. That part has changed.
Sure.
Where you don't touch recruits.
Yeah.
Right. There's no need to.
Yeah.
But from all the stuff that came out of his mouth, oh, that totally happens. It totally happens. Right. And recruits will laugh at that stuff. Right. You'll be in one recruit's face and there'll be another one down, standing on line, and he'll start laughing, and then that drill start, what are you laughing at, right? And,
You have to
come up with names for all the recruits, right? And that's how when you've got 80 recruits, and by week 2, you know every one of their names, right? But you know their names by what you figure out their personalities are, and you give them nicknames, and
just like in the
just
movie.
like that. That's how you remember 80 names over the course. So
Private Pile.
Exactly.
It's a real example, right?
It is. I think my hardest. It wasn't even hardest, right? Some of the stuff we'd have to laugh at was like, it was just.
Yeah.
So
and that adds to that military sense of humor. It's what, right? They always say, if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying, and it's what keeps us grounded, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's from a senior drill instructor spot, right, where, we call it Big Dadnum, right? But that's when the campaign cover comes off, it gets set on a stack of foot lockers, and it's actually a discussion, right? After about week 8 or so, right? We're getting go to the rifle range, and things are getting serious, right? I mean, up till then, it's all about the physical and the mental and learning what is the Marine Corps, what's it about, learning about Bellow Wood and Iwo Jima and all those things and all that history that came before us and what we're a part of, right? So once we get beyond that and it becomes real, we're going to the rifle range and we're going to teach you how to fire a weapon, right? And become a rifleman, not just somebody that's squeezing a trigger. Right, and then it becomes real, and that's where those conversations then come in of, this may be the real, what you have to do someday, and this is how you are going to survive it.
Yeah.
Right. So
survive it physically, operationally, but also emotionally.
Exactly. Yeah. There a lot of the emotional, right, and I don't know about you, but I'll be the first one to admit I've seen my share of mental health professionals, right, and there was a time where it was frowned upon to go see, it would ruin your career, right, to go see a mental health professional. And I put stuff off until I think it was in like late 80s when it became okay, right, to a point to go see it when they realized that things were going on in part of the first Gulf War.
Yeah, and
right?
thank God the military the pendulum has swung.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of guys that, what we used to call in World War II shell shock, we've now recognized like, that hey, you're actually damaged in the same way that the other guy who lost his arm is damaged. It's just not as visible. And thank God we as a community, as the military community, as a nation have embraced. And there's still a stigma that we're still trying to dismantle, right? But thank God we've come and we continue to come better on mental health, and we're getting guys the help they need. And me included, like as you said, it took me a long time till I was in my 40s to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I am burying stuff that I didn't know. And in fairness, I have not seen nearly some of the trauma that some of my compatriots have. But it doesn't mean, I think that's a lesson for any veteran, that you don't have to have, like I was never on patrol and somebody just blew up next to me. That was never my kind of scenario. But I think that's maybe a lesson that we're getting better as a community, that you don't have to have been in there to have seen or have done or just experienced some trauma, and there's no shame in seeking help for it.
No, and I'm full. I do it now. But one of the great things is I have a live-in. So my wife is a psychologist.
Oh.
So when I'm not
for
seeing,
the better and the worse.
For the better, exactly, right? So she's a psychologist. She works for the school district. But on the other hand, we have one of the great things that I got, and I'll take credit for this, is we got instituted within Comcast as part of our health network, if you will, part of our EAP program, is we partnered with the Cohen Clinic. So any veteran from Comcast can go see the Cohen Clinic. They're part of our
awesome.
network. It's set up like that. Leah Blaine, nothing but kudos to her and what she's done with that organization. And we partner with them. We bring them in. We talk about it. And to another thing, it's like there's the other side of it. Just because, what you were just alluded to, that just because you were a veteran doesn't mean you have PTSD, right? It doesn't mean you're going to go off on somebody, right? Although there is, I won't go into all the detail, but I came in, it's like, I need your help to fix this. I have to go do this. Yeah. And the bluntness and that actually offended him. And he went, it hurt my feelings. And I'm like, really? And when I got called, I'm like, well, maybe this is not me. Maybe it's a teaching moment for him. I don't know, right? But
once a DI, always a DI.
And my daughter, bless her, she grew up with it. We had her late in life, right? And so she wasn't born until 97. After part of my career was winding down. Right, but she still grew up with the Marine part and stuff like that, right? And
the daughter of a Marine drill instructor, 22-year career Marine. She is destined for failure. And I said kiddingly about my own kids, the kids of a SEAL. I'm like, listen, it's bullshit. You don't have to and they're like, Dad, I feel like we should be more sensitive. I'm like, maybe not. I don't know. Like,
I don't, but I will love her to death, and I love the woman that she's become because of it. Yeah. Right? And now she looks back and she's like, thank you. Right? Yeah. Because of what she is, right? Yeah. I remember getting called into school because
By the way, just so you know, this is exactly how this podcast normally goes. We usually go out in left field and we just stay there. We just keep going out further. Now we're into the stands. We're out in the parking lot. We just keep going.
There was I got called to school because and this was high school, some kid walked by and grabbed her ass, and she turned around and broke his nose. I got called into school. The school's like, and I'm like, and they're like, what do you got? I don't have an issue with it. He shouldn't have touched her.
Yeah, I don't
have an issue with it.
I have bonus money for her.
And the parents were like, we're okay with it.
Yeah. If we can make this go away without police involvement, we're okay.
Exactly. And you know what? She still talks about that to this. That's part of, I don't put up with crap.
That's awesome.
Right? And I mean, we have our tender and soft moments, right? Sure. There's times for that, but there's other times where you just suck it up and you go. Yeah. Right? We'll worry about crying and all that crap later. Just do what you got to do. Right? And that's kind of the way.
That guy's probably like a pastor somewhere because he had a young lady set him straight in the high school hallways one day, and he set him on a path of a better life.
Yeah. I never heard anything back out of that, right?
Well, we'll go with that.
So, but it's good stuff.
Hey, Pat, man, I appreciate you joining us, brother. It was great talking.
My pleasure.
Appreciate what Comcast is doing out here to support Team Foster, to support Rough Ride. You said 52 people have signed
52. We got 52 riders
to ride for
plus
24
bring in
hours.
their kids, right? It's a family event too, so 52 plus whatever kids want to jump on there.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us, man, on the Shots from the Winchester podcast. Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.
All right, bud.
Thanks.